When a world-class photographer from Vogue was asked what it was like to capture Jimin of BTS through the lens, the response wasn't just about beauty, it was about presence. The kind of presence that doesn't need explanation, direction, or heavy editing. According to the Vogue team, photographing Jimin wasn't simply about taking pictures, it was about witnessing an artist who lives inside every frame. From the moment he entered the studio, the atmosphere changed. There was something almost cinematic about him, calm yet captivating, warm yet mysterious. The photographer recalled that Jimin's visual impact went beyond his flawless features or his perfectly styled look. It was the way he moved, the way his expression could shift in an instant, showing a duality that few people in the industry could ever master. In one moment, Jimin stood quietly, his eyes gentle, his posture soft, embodying the elegance of calmness. Then, with just a subtle change of his gaze or the tilt of his chin, everything transformed. Suddenly, his aura became intense, commanding, almost magnetic. The photographer described it as the kind of transformation that makes everyone on set hold their breath. It wasn't acting, it was instinct. Jimin didn't pretend for the camera. He became the emotion the camera needed. Those who were present during the shoot said the silence that followed each flash of the camera wasn't awkward, it was admiration. Everyone simply wanted to take in the energy that Jimin radiated. The stylist whispered that even between takes, Jimin didn't drop his focus. He would quietly adjust his pose, recheck the angle of his shoulder or the flow of the fabric, as if his body understood fashion photography better than words ever could. The Vogue photographer shared that it was rare to meet someone who understood light as naturally as Jimin did. He doesn't fight the light, they said. He lets it move with him. His movements were described as fluid, not forced or mechanical. Every subtle gesture seemed to carry purpose. Every look had meaning. That natural harmony between stillness and energy is what makes Jimin's duality so hypnotic. Duality has always been one of Jimin's most fascinating traits, both on and off stage. Fans have seen it countless times, the switch from his soft smile in interviews to his sharp, confident charisma when he performs. But seeing that transformation up close, in real time, through a camera lens, is something entirely different. The Vogue team admitted that capturing that kind of depth isn't easy, because Jimin's expressions are not rehearsed, they are lived. At one point during the shoot, the photographer reportedly stopped and said, "You don't have to pose, Jimin. Just be yourself." And that was all it took. Jimin gave a small nod, lowered his gaze, and in that single moment, delivered one of the most striking shots of the entire session. No extravagant lighting, no exaggerated direction, just authenticity. That's the kind of artistry that can't be taught. What fascinated the Vogue staff the most was how Jimin carried himself in between shots. There was no rush, no frustration, only calm awareness. He treated everyone with respect, greeting stylists, thanking the lighting crew, and checking on the photographer's comfort between takes. One staff member later described him as a person who makes the room quiet, not because he demands attention, but because his presence feels peaceful. Jimin's duality isn't about playing different roles. It's about embodying contrast naturally. He can look fragile and powerful at the same time. His soft features may appear gentle, but his gaze carries a strength that lingers even after the camera stops clicking. It's the same duality that makes his performances on stage so unforgettable, that balance between vulnerability and dominance, grace and control, emotion and discipline. When Vogue Korea released the final photos, the reaction was immediate. Fans worldwide trended Jimin's name within minutes, praising his ability to look effortlessly elegant while maintaining a strong, artistic identity. The photos weren't just admired, they were studied, discussed, and even replicated by other idols who wanted to capture that same sense of presence. But as many photographers have since said, you can copy the pose, but you can't copy the aura. One of the things that truly sets Jimin apart, according to the photographer, is his relationship with silence. During the shoot, there were moments when no one spoke. Only the sound of the camera shutter filled the space, click, click, click. And yet, Jimin didn't need direction. His eyes told the story. "There's something in his gaze that speaks louder than words," said the photographer. You feel emotions shifting inside him even before he moves. That's the magic of duality. It's not just visual, it's emotional. It's the contrast between softness and strength, between dream and reality. When Jimin turns his head slightly, or when his lips part just a little, there's an entire mood change. He can be poetic and powerful in the same second, reminding everyone that real artistry isn't about pretending, it's about feeling. Even after the shoot ended, the Vogue team couldn't stop talking about him. One staff member said, "We've worked with many artists, but Jimin made us feel something different. It's not about fame or perfection. It's about how he makes the camera feel alive. And that's exactly what makes him stand out in an industry filled with beautiful faces. Jimin gives soul to every frame." When fans later saw behind-the-scenes footage from the Vogue photoshoot, many pointed out that his smallest gestures looked like choreography, the way he turned his head, the way he adjusted his sleeve, or the subtle expression change right before the flash. Everything seemed effortless. Some even joked that Jimin doesn't pose for the camera poses for him. The photographer laughed when asked if they believed that statement. "Maybe it's true," they said. "There's a moment when you realize the camera isn't capturing Jimin, it's following him. It's like he knows exactly how to speak to the lens without words." That unique connection between Jimin and the camera might come from his years of experience as a performer. As a dancer, he understands rhythm, space, and timing. Those instincts translate naturally into his modeling. Every breath becomes part of the photo, every pause becomes part of the emotion. When he moves, it's never random. It's deliberate yet organic, making the final images feel alive rather than static. And that's what separates Jimin from the rest. Many idols can look good in front of a camera, but very few can make a photograph feel like it's moving. Jimin's photos don't just show beauty, they tell a story. They have emotion, rhythm, and character. That's why fans and professionals alike often describe his visual presence as cinematic. The Vogue photographer admitted that even after years in the fashion world, there are only a few people who leave a lasting impression, and Jimin is one of them. "You don't forget him," they said. "Not because he's famous, but because he makes you feel something when you look at him." After the session, the team reviewed hundreds of photos, and almost every frame was usable, something incredibly rare in editorial photography. Usually, even the most experienced models need several takes to get the perfect shot, but with Jimin, each capture carried a new nuance. It's like he changes slightly every time, never repeating the same emotion twice, the photographer said. That emotional fluidity is what fans call Jimin's duality. It's not staged, not exaggerated, it's genuine. He can look delicate without losing strength, seductive without being aggressive, and ethereal without being distant. That balance between opposites is what makes him endlessly fascinating. For Vogue, working with Jimin wasn't just a photo shoot, it was a performance. It was a study of light, emotion, and human connection. One of the assistant directors summed it up perfectly. "Some people make good photos. Jimin makes art." When the issue was released, it wasn't just the fans who noticed. Fashion critics praised the shoot for its emotional depth and visual sophistication. Several publications noted how Jimin seemed to redefine what it means to be a male idol in modern fashion, combining elegance and vulnerability with quiet confidence. His Vogue feature became a benchmark for future K-pop editorial shoots, inspiring stylists and photographers to aim for the same level of authenticity. Even months later, the photos continued circulating online. Fans shared edits, quotes, and comparisons, noting how Jimin's Vogue expressions mirrored the emotions in his solo songs. Introspective, honest, and layered. It became clear that his artistry wasn't confined to the stage. It extended to every creative space he entered. In the end, the Vogue photographer's words summed it up best. "You can train someone to pose, but you can't teach presence." Jimin has that rare presence, the kind that makes the camera fall in love. And perhaps that's what makes Jimin BTS such a phenomenon. Not just his voice, not just his dance, but the indescribable duality that lives within him. The gentle and the fierce, the quiet and the bold, the human and the dream. He doesn't just stand in front of the camera, he breathes life into it. Because for Jimin, every frame isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And that's something no one else can ever imitate.